Hey everyone, welcome to the first Level Up webinar of 2020. My name is Lauren and I'm a part of ironSource's marketing team. Today, Keren, our in-house ASO expert, will cover the importance of ASO in your overall user acquisition strategy. Before we get started, I wanted to take a few seconds to just tell you a bit more about what we're doing here at ironSource. ironSource is developing the industry's leading growth engine for games. We reach 2.7 billion engaged players a month, and our ad mediation platform is #1 in the market for game developers. Our webinars are truly designed to ensure that game devs and UA managers like yourselves are able to accelerate growth. All of our past webinars are available on demand at www.ironsrc.com/webinars. Keren, take it away.
Thanks for the intro, Lauren. Hi, I'm Keren and I'm Playworks project manager. I've been 5 years in the mobile marketing gaming industry, and today I want to talk about ASO as the missing piece in your user acquisition strategy. Today, we'll talk about the relationship between ASO and user acquisition, how to optimize your App Store page, and I will talk about real-life examples and leave some time for questions. In the end, my goal is that you will be able to get some useful tools, tips that will help you to combine ASO in your user acquisition strategy. If you're already doing it and you're using ASO in your user acquisition strategy, I hope you will find some useful tips and inspiration for your next tests. So let's start. We'll talk about the relationship between ASO and user acquisition. So if you already signed up for this webinar, and by the way, thanks for signing up, and I'm happy to have you here, you probably know what is ASO in general. So I want to emphasize that ASO is not just improving the visibility of an app, it's also about the conversion. So many times when I'm speaking with people from the industry, they are saying to me, oh, ASO, it's keyword, right? So it's not only keywords. Keywords is part of it, but ASO is also affected by store features, by user experience of your game, by ratings, reviews, updates, and much more. Apple actually admitted that there are more than 40 elements in their algorithm. But today, I want to focus on page optimization. So let's say you created this beautiful ad and user clicked on it. They are redirected to the app stores. And then they can decide if they want to download it or just move to the next game. So what I want to say here is that the app page is a crucial element from your UA of your UA funnel. It is part of the funnel and is not only affected on the organic element of your game. Many times when I speak with people from the industry, they think that ASO is just affecting on organic side, but ASO is not just the responsibility of an ASO manager, because it's also affecting on the user acquisition performance. As a user acquisition manager, your goal is to get more installs. In order to get this install, the user have to go through the page. So it's also affecting on your performance. Why is it important for user acquisition? It can increase your download CVR, IPM, and in general, you'll get more users and more revenue. So how should you optimize your App Store page? The most important thing, in my opinion, is always keep testing. Test your page, and don't forget, ASO is not just a one-time thing. It's a process. So how should you start to do an ASO test? How to conduct an effective ASO test? I want to show you a process that we are also using, and in my opinion, these steps are very important. So first, study up the ASO best practices. Choose your tools, do a research, test, and measure. And now I'm going to go over on each part of this process. So let's start about store differences. In my opinion, it's very important to understand the differences in order to do an effective ASO test. So you can already see an app on Apple and Google Play and see the differences on the icon that is much bigger on Apple and the screenshot differences. As you can see, on Apple, you can see only the first screenshots, and on Google, you can see more than that. But on Google, it's also depending on the screenshot size, and it's different from iOS. The most important thing here, in my opinion, is to make sure you put your message in the right place. You can see that on the first impression on iOS, you see only the first screenshot and the first part of the second one. So it's important to put your most important message there and not to put it, let's say, in the third screenshot, because many users are not scrolling through the page or through the gallery and they won't see your page. So put your most important message in the right place. Next, and we can talk about the video differences for hours, but also I'll start with a few. So on Apple, it's autoplay, and on Google, it's not, and it makes a huge difference because on Apple, more people are watching the videos, but on Google Play, you have a really important element that is less visible on Apple. The image behind the video is very important because users, this is the first image that they're seeing if you have a video. If you don't have a video, it's not visible, and it's affecting your conversion. So this presentation is also based on real questions that I got from clients. So the questions that I get from almost all of the clients is, should I apply the same asset on Google Play and on iOS? So as I said before, there are differences between the layouts of the store. So it's very important to make the right assets for each store. The Google Play video, for example, is showing in landscape, and in iOS, it's not always in landscape. You can choose landscape or portrait. So what I want to say is, do not apply immediately your assets from Google Play on iOS without testing it. You can see different performance between the store, and it's very important to test your asset on iOS before you apply it. Even if you found a winner on Google Play and you find a great icon that works best, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will work good on iOS as well. It might do, to be honest, but you need to test it. Next, clients are asking me, what should you test? So you can test the icon, the screenshots and videos, but you can also test the first impression. That means that you can test the icon and the screenshots together. This is a thing that I'm not recommending to do on each test, but if you want to test, like let's say, to see the rebranding of your game, it's something that can definitely work. But the disadvantage in this test is that, let's say you created a great icon with bad screenshots, you won't be able to know that you have a great icon out there. Once you decide to open a test and do an icon test, you can combine different icons and test different type of icons. You can check an icon of emotional characters that can make people relate to your game, but in the same game you can also check gameplay icons that usually work well for hyper casual games. You can play with these icon types and do a couple of tests and check what works best for your game. So you can also test the videos and try different kind of videos. You can try videos of one cut of your gameplay that show one scene of it. Maybe a losing video or a winning video will work better for your game, or you can try and create a gameplay mix, like to take a couple of scenes from your game, put it all together, and make an exciting new video and test it. So how can you learn more about ASO? You can check out ASO blogs, follow experts on Twitter, join the ASO Slack group, which is really great. You can use this group and ask questions, and ASO experts from all over the world can answer you. You can read ASO ebooks and track your competitors. So after you went over the ASO basic, now it's the time to choose your tool. So you have an option, you have more options that what I'm showing now. For example, you can, some people also use Apple search ads for testing their screenshots, but I want to focus on these two methods, the duplicated App Store page and the native store A/B testing. Duplicated App Store page means that you use one of these external systems. There are more out there. You can do research on the web, and you can use this system in order to create a duplicated page. It means that a user will get to a page that looks like your original page, but in this duplicated page, you are able to conduct an A/B testing. For example, to take one icon with a red background and one icon with yellow background and see what works best. After the user decide if he wants to download your game from the duplicated App Store page, is redirected to the real App Store page. Another option is native store A/B testing, but it's only available on Google Play right now. And to be honest, I don't think that Apple will make it on their platform soon as well. But in my opinion, it's a very useful tool and it's free. And you can use it in order to open a test straight from your Google Play console. It can take 5 minutes for some to open a test for some of the cases, and you can get an answer by a week or two. So it's also a very useful tool. Testing your assets minimize your risk. It helps you get an important data that you won't be able to get without testing your assets. If you apply the assets without testing it, you are risking by losing some conversion rates. So another question that I usually get is which platform, which method should I use? That's an interesting question because it really depends on your game and on your budget, because Google Play is, for example, free, and if you want to test your assets on iOS, you cannot do it on Google Play A/B testing. So you should use Splitmatrix or StoreMaven or another duplicated App Store page system. So it depends on your needs. Think what is your goal and choose your method and platform by following it. So there are also some challenges in ASO testing. The first challenge is that there is only one page. This page is, there is only one page, per geo. So this page is for organic traffic and for non-organic as well. And we don't have separate page for each audience or traffic. It's all all of the traffic is on the same page. So we cannot do one page for organic traffic and one page for non-organic traffic. And we know that if we would have been able to do it, we might have a better performance. But right now we don't have the option to do it. A user experience testing challenge is for the duplicated App Store page. Some users might not find it optimal to go through 2 App Store pages, but in my opinion, in some cases, it's definitely worth the testing and the results and the understanding if your page works better with other elements. It can increase your conversion and your revenue, and sometimes it's worth like not doing the optimal experience for some of the users. There are of course some ASO testing depends on your budget, and there are always unexpected factors out there. Sometimes the algorithm is changed, and seasonality might affect your results. Let's say you tested your icon on Christmas and you found a great one, but it worked on Christmas. It just worked on Christmas and might not work later this year. So next, after you know the ASO basic, you chose your method, you need to prepare a research. This is the way that we start our research. And we are starting by checking the assets. We are looking at what we already have. We are looking at the Keren screenshots, icons, and all the graphic elements that we have from the game or the app. And then we are doing a competitive analysis. We are looking at any benchmark. You can use a benchmark from your other games or apps and see where you're standing. Later, we are looking at in-game data. Let's say some specific character works really good on your game. Use it in your icon screenshot as a presenter. One more thing that we are doing is also taking inspiration from online and social media and popular culture. For example, maybe you walked on the street yesterday and saw an amazing movie poster out there. You can take inspiration and use it in your icon or screenshots, and use it as an inspiration for your assets. In the end, I recommend to create a few concepts, even more than you need, and then eliminate the ones you think that might not work. In the end, make sure you have an assumption of a test and why do you think that it will work. This is an example of one thing that we do in competitive research. We use the App Any Timeline feature. When I found out about this feature a couple of years ago, I was amazed. I think it's one of the most important tools for ASO and User Acquisition Manager. You can track your competitors and even create alerts. You can create an alert for one of your competitors and know when they change their icon or change it back to another one. And it can really helpful to know what is there out there in the App Store. So test ideas. Sometimes I hear that some people don't have ideas of what to test. But as I said before, I think that ASO is a process and you always have something to test. You can test background colors, you can test different unique selling points, change the scenes, change the characters, change the presenter. And I want to tell you about one test that I did about screenshot order. I just flip the screenshots and change number 2 and make it number 1, and I got an increase in conversion, and it was really helpful for this game. More interesting test is to change the point of view of the icon. This is an example of changing the point of view. Sometimes you have a great icon, but just like spinning it a bit or showing it from the top can increase the conversion and have a better performing icon. Localization. In some cases, I've seen an amazing a performance for localization test, but you need to make sure to do it right. Because if your game is containing a lot of words inside of it, and you're just localizing your marketing, your audience might think that the game is localized as well, and they might add bad reviews and cause to a rating drop. So it's important to do it right, and make sure you're localizing it correctly. In the end, don't forget to measure your success. After you found a great icon, screenshots, or elements, apply it and measure your success. Monitor your download, CTR, CVR, IPM, and check out your app consoles to see the statistics. Just before we finish, I want to show you some real-life examples of tests that we've seen. So the first test is a video test. In this test, we wanted to see if the page worked better with or without a video. As you can see, this page worked better without a video. But then we asked ourselves, is it really because of the video, or maybe something else affected this test? So we conducted another test and we added another variation. This time we used the same video but with another picture in the background, and we found out that the page worked better with the video and just changing another video poster behind it. So from this, we can learn that when you find a winner, first there is always things to test, and check your assumption, check it and think, is it really because what I thought it is, or maybe there is another reason? Find a way to test it and see if you are right or wrong. And the next one is that small changes can make a big difference. In this test, we just added an egg and found a really better performing icon. Next, sometimes it's worth testing an entire new concept. As you can see in this test, the new concept that is looked totally different won. So to sum it up, ASO is important and it's a process. You need to test your store. And how to test it? Use native A/B testing a method or a duplicated App Store page. Prepare research before you start your test, and you can test small changes or entirely new concepts. By the way, you can also test your title in the duplicated App Store page and text and subtitle, but in this webinar, we focused on the graphic element. In the end, don't forget to measure your success. Make sure your downloads are increasing, and if your downloads trend is decreasing, try a new test, see what happened, and always monitor your metrics. Do you have any questions? Checking. So someone just asked me, what is the most impact asset out there? So it's really important, and from my experience, I've seen impact. I've seen an impact on a icon and a localized test, but it really depends on your game. And it really depends on your game and on your performance on your current page. But I recommend I recommend to check where are your pain spots, where is your weakness in the page, and go over it and test it. I've seen a lot of impact in games that haven't changed their icon for a long time. And after a long time, they changed their icon and it made a huge impact. And so icons and screenshots are, icon and localization are definitely things that can make impact. By the way, videos can also make an impact, like increase the conversion by up to 40%. So good question. I'll choose the next one. I'll find just a second. How can you test? How can you do a test with or without a video on the Play Store? So technically, what we do is that we are removing the video link from the original store listing, and we open a new A/B testing, and adding the new video as a version B. So this is technically how you should do it. Remove the video from your original store listing and add it as a variation in the A/B testing console. How long should the test last? So it depends. It depends on your test and on your performance. I've seen tests that we got the results after a few days, and I've seen tests that were lasted for a few months and we didn't even get the result. So it really depends what you are testing, and you can get different. So it takes different time. If usually the systems like the Google Play console and the duplicated App Store pages systems will show you when the test ends, and you'll know it. Next question. How would you localize if you don't speak a specific language? Would you just translate? So localization is more than that. There is an option if your budget is low, there is an option to just translate it, but it's not the best practice for localization. Localization should be right for the specific culture. Let's say that you are doing a Chinese localization. You should also adjust your screenshots and your graphic language to be fitted to the Chinese culture. So localization is not just translation. This is something that is very important. And in order to get even more conversion, you need to do culturalization, that the screenshots, icon, name will fit to the culture, because in some cultures, some things say one thing and another say one thing, like phrases in one language will not mean the same in another one, or will not even be familiar in another language or culture. So make sure to make it right. Next one. So how important is the description? For Google Play, it's important for keywords ranking because some of the keywords are indexed from the description, even though it's very important to say that the most important keyword should be in your title and in the short description. So on Google Play, the short description is important, but there are more important things out there. You can test it as well and see which phrase work best there. And on iOS, I would say that it's less important, because that in order for users to read the description, they need to scroll, and we already know that many users do not scroll through the app page or through the gallery. So so it's more important to invest your time in screenshots, title, icon and video than in description on iOS. But you cannot upload an app without it. So something needs to be there. Just make sure it's not embarrassing. Next one. Just a second, checking. Do you recommend to work on ASO at launch or during the running phase? So I recommend to combine ASO strategy, even from thinking about the concept of the game and from thinking about the game name, because the game name is affecting ASO, visibility, conversion, everything. So an ASO manager and user acquisition manager, in my opinion, should be there from the initial stage of the game, and you should keep working on ASO during the before the launch, during soft launch, after launch. Keep doing tested, checking different marketing direction, and before the launch, it's really important to understand which marketing direction is the right decision for your game. Be ready for the launch, and after the launch, keep optimizing the store. And as I said, testing and ASO testing is a process, and there are always things to test. Okay, thank you for your questions. I didn't get the chance to answer everything. Thanks for participating, but if you have additional questions, don't hesitate to send it to us and ask us, and we'll answer. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.